Today we are going to start macroeconomics. Macroeconomics, I hope you know economics is divided in two parts, micro and macro. So today we are going to start macroeconomics, a very important chapter, that is theory of income and employment. This chapter consists of 14 marks as per boards. Okay, so today we are going to start the chapter. According to J.M. Keynes, a British economist, in 1936 developed the theory of income and employment and explained the causes of cyclical unemployment. Now, I hope you all remember that you all have studied in 9th and 11th standard cyclical unemployment. He advocated fiscal and monetary measures to cure unemployment. Now, we will later part of the chapter we will come to know about the fiscal and monetary measures. Okay, we will study about this. He argued that full employment could be maintained only with the help of government spending on public work and deficit spending. Public help work means public support. Okay, government spending, that is what kind of expenditure government is doing on the economy. Okay, and deficit means spending with thriftness means wise decision. Okay, by minimum spending. Okay, minimizing their expenditures. But in actual terms, if we will speak, then there is no such condition where we can say that in any economy there is full employment. Okay, so this is just assumption that how they can achieve full employment. Okay, income and output in an economy in short run depends on aggregate demand or aggregate spending. Aggregate spending, that is what? That is aggregate expenditure. Okay, so income and output, whatever you are earning and whatever is being produced in an economy is in short run, it all depends on what? Aggregate demand. Aggregate demand means total demand in a market. Okay, or you can say aggregate expenditure. Why aggregate expenditure? You will demand as much as you can spend, right? If you can spend more, you will demand more. So that is what it depends on, aggregate demand or aggregate spending. Now, what are the assumptions of the theory? When national income increases or decreases, demand of all the sectors in an economy increases or decreases together. So we are assuming that if national income is increasing or decreasing, what happens? If it increase, demand also increase, and if it is decreasing, demand also decreasing together. Okay. Now, what is the second assumption? Price level is fixed. Firms are willing to sell any amount of output at given level of price. Now, what we have studied before, we have very well studied that it depends on the force of demand and supply. Price depends on the force of demand and supply. But here what we are doing, we are assuming that price level is fixed and firms, they are ready to sell their output at any given level of price. Okay. Next is the simple model of income distribution is developed on the assumption of short run during which full employment is given. Now, whatever we are learning, the model or whatever income distribution we will learn in this is on the assumption of what? Is on the assumption that there is full employment in short run period. Okay. Next is the economy has excess capacity in terms of stock of capital and availability of labor. Now, the economy has what? Excess capacity in stock of capital and availability of labor. That means there is no limitations on resources. They have sufficient capacity. This is what we are assuming. Okay. There is no foreign trade. That is absence of export and import in the economy. Now, when we are studying about C plus I, we have already eliminated import and export, right? So that is what later on I will explain you what is C plus I, but that is what we are assuming over here. What we are doing, we are eliminating export and import. We are not considering it. Okay. Only two sectorial model is considered, that is household and firm. Now, we are taking into consideration only two sectors of the economy. One is household, another is firm. Okay. Now, Keynes has used the approach of aggregate demand and aggregate supply for the determination of equilibrium of an economy. So here we will study aggregate demand also and aggregate supply also. For determination, that means Keynes has studied that for the reason because he want to determine equilibrium in an economy. Now very first we will study aggregate demand and its components. Now what do you mean by aggregate demand? Aggregate demand refers to the total demand for goods and services in an economy in a year's time. Okay, do remember what we are considering? We are considering one complete year. Okay, so total demand for goods and services in an economy in a year's time. Clear? It refers to the desired, intended or planned demand, ex ante demand. Do remember, this is what? This is just a desire, or you can say intended. Intended means planned. Okay, so whenever it is desired or intended or planned, it is known as ex ante demand. Okay, any desired, intended or planned demand is known as ex ante demand or spending by the people. Do remember, sometimes you get a differentiation on ex ante and ex post demand. So you have to understand this ex ante and ex post demand. Fine. This is a very important difference. So it comes for 2 marks. So do remember this. There are 4 main group of buyers in an economy. That means the sector is divided in how many parts? 4 parts. Okay. First is individual consumers or household. That is what we have studied, right? In while explaining you assumption, I explain you about 2 sectors, that is household and firm, right? So one sector which I explained is household, that is individual consumer. Now when we denote, that means when we will carry out our calculation or when we will study this theory, whenever we will denote C, capital C, that will represent what? Individual consumer or household. Okay, so capital C denotes individual consumers or household. Now next is firms. What firms do? They demand for raw materials, right? So what they do? They do investments. What is their expenditure? Their expenditure is known as investment expenditure. So whatever expenditure they do, it is being denoted by capital I. Clear? Next is government. We have already studied government also carry out their expenditure. They are the producer also, they are the buyers also. Fine. Now here what we are taking government as? We are taking government as in aggregate demand, that means as a consumer, that is as a buyer. Now government is denoted by what? G, capital G. Now last but not the least, it is foreign purchases of domestic output. Now foreign purchases means export and import, right? So here we take into consideration net export. Now what is net export? X minus M. X is what? Export. M is what? Import. Okay, so if we will check out the equation of aggregate AD, that is aggregate demand, that is C plus I plus G plus X minus M. Okay, but here what we will consider in 12th standard, we will just consider C plus I, that is consumer plus investment. Okay, now effective demand is the total amount of goods and services that people actually try in an economy. Okay, it is ex post demand. Now this is what? This is actual. See, previously what we studied? Intended. Intended was what? Ex ante. Okay, now if effective demand, that is actual demand, is the total amount of goods and services that people actually try in an economy. It is ex post demand. Okay, it is the actual aggregate demand. While discussing the simple Keynes theory of income determination, we have taken the model of closed economy. We have taken which model? That is closed economy. That is, we are just considering within the boundaries. Okay, that is C plus I. C is what? Individual consumer or household. I is what? Firm. That is firm's investment. We will learn this ahead in clear format. Let's understand aggregate demand perfectly with diagram and graph. Okay. Now, so far what we have studied, what are the components of aggregate demand? First was individual consumers or household, that is private final consumption expenditure. Okay, that is whatever privately, that means household consumes. Fine, that is being denoted with C. Next is firms. Now firms, what they do? They do investment expenditure. Investment expenditure means they invest in goods and services. So that is being denoted by I, capital I. Okay. Next is government expenditure. Now government also demand. They are also a purchaser, or they also demand from the market. So government do expenditure. That is being denoted by G. Net export. Net export, that means export minus import. Now there is a demand in case of export also, in case of import also. That demand is, we will calculate net. Net means first we will take export, we will reduce from that import, and then we will take it as net export. Okay, so if we will check out AD, that is aggregate demand ka equation, that will be C plus I plus G plus X minus M. Okay, but now in 12th standard we are just dealing with C plus I. Okay, so whatever we will check out C plus I. Now we have already studied, this is the planned one. Okay, whatever we are studying is already planned. That means we have assumed. This is not something which is actual. Okay, now accordingly we check out the schedule of aggregate demand. Now this part is showing income 0. Now income rises to 100, 200, 300, 400. Now consumption, if you will check out that where at 0 income, that means no income, still the consumption is there. Fine, 40 is the consumption. Now this consumption is known as autonomous consumption. You can denote it with C bar, small c bar, or you can denote it with small a. Okay, so this is known as autonomous consumption. Autonomous consumption means compulsory consumption. Okay, after that we have 120. That is, now as my income increases, now my consumption also increase. Likewise, it keeps on increasing. Here we have studied that my investment is flat. Flat means constant. Can you see the straight line parallel to x-axis? Okay, horizontal straight line parallel to x-axis. This is what my investment. So investment is constant throughout. So we will take 40, 40, 40, you can see. Now what we have said, what is my AD, aggregate demand ka calculation? That is C plus I, that is consumption plus investment. Now if I check out, this goes to 80, this goes to 160, this goes to 240, this goes to 320, and here it is 400. That means here my aggregate demand is equals to my income. That means this is my level of equilibrium. Okay, same schedule we will check out in case of diagram, or you can say graph. See, this part is showing what? Income. This is showing what? Aggregate demand. Now this, we have already said that my investment is flat. Now see the area 0 to S. Okay, now this is the area where my consumption is constant. Okay, so this is my autonomous consumption. What is this? This is my autonomous consumption. Okay, now I will check out my next part. Next part is what? My consumption. Now I have seen my consumption is rising 40, 120. Now examiner don't check much. You can straight draw one line which is denoting consumption. Now what is my next part? My next part is aggregate demand. So this is what I have to show. Here we have to be very careful. We have to draw a parallel line to consumption. Fine. Now this will have a equal gap. Now this gap is what? This gap is my investment. Okay. You can see this. Okay. So what is my actually my AD? My AD is C plus I. When my AD is C plus I, that means the gap, what will be the gap? Gap will be investment. So this should be parallel. This is consumption. This is aggregate demand. Okay. Now we'll move on to the next topic, that is aggregate supply. Aggregate supply can be formed by aggregating aggregate consumption, expenditure and savings at different level of output. It refers to the value of total output of goods and services produced in an economy in a year. So what is aggregate supply? That means total value of goods and services which is produced in an economy in a year. Okay, that is supplied in the market. Okay, aggregate supply is equal to the value of national product or national income. It is depicted by the 45-degree line originating from the origin. Now I will explain this with graph and everything ahead. Currently you understand what is my aggregate supply. Aggregate supply is equals to what? National income. Now national income is denoted by what? By capital Y. Okay, now if I have an income, what I will do? Either I will consume it, that means either I will spend it for consumption or I will save it. So what is the formula? C plus S. Okay, this will be explained ahead in clear format. Here we will check out aggregate supply. Okay, now aggregate supply means what? Aggregate supply means national income. Now how we denote aggregate supply? We denote aggregate supply with capital Y. Okay, now what are the components of aggregate supply? First is consumption, second is saving. Now in short we will understand, if we get some money, okay, what we will do? We have two options, either we will consume it or we will save it. So that is what my income, if my income is there, we will either consume it, that is consumption, or we will save it, that is savings. Fine. Let's check out the same thing in case of schedule. Same schedule it is. See, my income is 0, 100, 200, 300, 400. Now my consumption 40, 120 likewise. But then 40 at 0 level of income. That means this is what? This is my autonomous consumption. That is compulsory consumption. You can denote it with C bar also. You can denote it with small a also. No problem. Okay. Fine. Now how I will check out my savings? What should be, how I will calculate? See what I have studied. What is my income? Income is C plus S. Okay. Now what I have in this formula? In this formula I have income and then I have consumption. I don't have savings, right? Now if I check out 100, okay, what is at 100 level, what is my consumption? My consumption is 120 and saving is not being given. If I will take it this side, it will give me saving as minus 20. First will be minus 40, second will be minus 20, third will be 0. Okay, now this will be plus 20 and this will be plus 40. Is it clear? See, this is how I have calculated. What is the formula for saving? If I check out my formula for saving, it will give me C minus Y. Okay. Now again aggregate supply is C plus S. It will be same like income. If I will add C plus S, this will give me 0, this will give me 100, this will give me 200, this will give me 300 and ultimately 400. So my aggregate supply is equals to what? Income. So this is what I have studied. Aggregate supply is what? Equals to income. Fine. Now this part is denoting, see this is diagram part. We will check out with the diagram. Now this part is denoting income. This is denoting aggregate supply. Now how I will draw my diagram? First I have checked out that two parts, they are in negative. Negative means in line bar it will go below 0. Okay, so I will start my diagram from 0 level. Okay, now if I am starting my diagram from here, this is what? This is denoting saving. Okay, so I will start my diagram from here. This is my diagram. This is what? This is my saving. Now this area is known as what? See, as this is minus area. So this is known as dis-saving. This is known as what? Dis-saving. Now dis-saving means when I have no income, from where I will consume? I will consume from my previous saving. If I am consuming from my previous saving, that is dis-saving. Okay. Now after that, if I'll calculate aggregate supply, now it is starting from 0, so it will start from the origin. Okay, so I will draw one diagram, that is my aggregate supply, or you can say this is my income. Fine. Now do remember, this will always form 45 degree. Okay, this will be a bisector, you can say, in between. Fine. Now what is the next part what I have studied? That is my consumption. I have already studied, I have autonomous consumption. That means at a point I have a autonomous consumption. This is my autonomous consumption, compulsory consumption. Fine. Now what I will do, I will draw my line from here. That is my consumption line. Fine. Now this is my consumption line. If I check out, I will plot one line over here. Now this line, if you will check out, these are matching. Now this point is matching with this. You will see where my consumption, this is what, this line is what, this line denotes consumption. Now when my consumption meets my income, that means when my consumption meets my income, what is the saving? Saving is 0. Fine. So this is what I have denoted in the diagram, that is, this is my saving, where my saving is 0, where consumption and income meets, intersects each other. Okay, is this clear? Now what I will say, when Y equals to C, that means my income is equals to saving. What is that? That is known as break even point. That is known as what? That is known as break even point. Or you can even say, what is it? My saving is equals to 0. Okay. See, when Y is equals to C, saving is what? 0, and that is known as break even point. Is it clear? This is all about aggregate supply. Fine. Now we will move on to the next topic, that is investment expenditure. Now what is investment expenditure? Investment refers to that part of aggregate output which takes the form of new plant, new capital equipments and machinery, new structure like factories, office buildings, residential house, etc., and addition to business inventories, like that is stock of goods. So this is what these all are investment expenditure. That means these are expenditure which we are incurring with the expectation that in future we will get the return. Okay, so that is why it is investment expenditure. Okay, now here we have two types of expenditure, investment expenditure. One is induced investment and another is autonomous investment. First we will study induced investment. Again, in a very short and important topic, it comes for 2 marks or 3 marks probably. Okay, so you have to check out that this is again an important part. It either comes for 2 or 3 marks in the exam. Okay, now what is induced investment? Induced investment is that investment which is undertaken as a result of change in the level of income. An increase in the level of income leads to an increase in the demand for consumer goods. Induced investment varies directly with the change in the level of income. Induced investment, in short, you understand, that is fluctuating. Fluctuating means it keeps on increasing and decreasing with the increase and decrease of income. Fine. See, later on you can check out, see the graph. See here you can check the graph. Can you check, this is induced investment ka graph. See the investment is slanting. Slanting means it's going upwards, because here I have shown that my income is increasing from Y1 to Y2. So if my income is increasing, my investment is also increasing. Fine. Now autonomous investment. What is autonomous investment? Autonomous investment is that type of investment which is not affected by the change in the level of income or output. What we have studied? Autonomous investment, that is compulsory investment. Okay, mandatory. That means it goes constant. Okay, so that is what, which is not affected by the change in the level of income or output. Autonomous investment is income elastic, which indicates that the amount of investment is same at each level of income. Each level of income means either my income is very high or very low, but autonomous investment is what? Compulsory investment. That means it goes flat. See, you can check out very well in the graph. See the investment. Investment is a horizontal parallel line to x-axis. So that is what? It is my autonomous investment. Here again I have shown the increase in income from y1 to y2, but see, investment, it's not increasing, it is flat, constant. Am I clear?